Hi, Gemini. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology, and today I am here to discuss the Libra full moon, which happens on April 1st. It's at 7:12 p.m. here on the West Coast, and yeah, and that is Pacific Daylight Time. And the moon will be at 13 degrees of Libra. Okay, so please check for your own time though around the world because it will be different. Okay, now the sun will be at 12 degrees, and the full moon is always about a sun and moon opposition because it is asking us to join, honestly, the ego with our feelings, the masculine with the feminine, right? The moon is the feminine. Also, the divine masculine, like it has to do with our sense of self and what we want to create in the world. It can be that. It is ego, based on ego. The sun is about that. It's also about our talents. And as it opposes the moon will always want us to be safe. So, and, and happy and content and nurtured. So when we see that and trust our intuition, there's a lot. But when we see the sun and the moon opposing, one another with the full moon, it creates an ending because oppositions create pressure and like where things need to change, right? And an ending always brings a new beginning. So this is what we have with the full moon. And so Gemini, let's see what else we have here before we get into yours. We're going to go through a little intro here, but Gemini, this is going to be for Gemini ascendant, sun, and then moon. Okay. Basically in that order, but yeah. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Um, yeah. And so the majority of the energy or the, astrological energy is in Pisces and Aries. The sun is in Aries, right? And what is Aries about? It's about new beginnings, right? It's the opposite sign of Libra. It is because Libra is about like the partner and, creating balance between, yourself and something or someone. And Aries is the self. So, that's really kind of what that opposition is, that axis, I should say. And so Aries wants us to take action. It wants us to have courage, create new beginnings. Aries is the Fool in the tarot deck. He's the Emperor, and he is also the Magician. So this is all about new beginnings, right? That's really what it is. So when we say the Fool, though, in case you don't know, it has little to do with, or none to do really with foolishness. No, it is more about just kind of believing. It can when the card's reversed or things like that, but it's just about believing in, what you want to do, right? Yeah, that's really what the Fool is. And so, and in Pisces, the energy that is there is wanting us to believe in our dreams and our visions as we move into and transcend, release, dissolve what doesn't serve you anymore, and move into Aries, which is courage. All right, courage, drive, and desire. So we have the ruler here of Aries and Scorpio because they share Mars, right? Mars is in Pisces, as I was saying, asking us to believe in our dreams. And Venus, the ruler of the full moon, is at 2 degrees of Taurus, which is your 12th house of endings and dissolving, in a hidden conjunction with Chiron. So this can apply that you're able to let something go or heal. It doesn't always have to be healing, like, where you need, I don't know, medicine or, anything like that. It can simply be like something psychological where you're just letting it go. You're letting it dissolve. And that's what the 12th house is. You're just, like that's no good for me anymore. I need to move on from that, right? Things that we hold on to a lot are holding psychological things. The 12th house is very psychological. So this is where we have Venus is in Taurus in your 12th house. And Venus always with that conjunction with Chiron, Chiron is the wounded healer. So when we have a conjunction, we have Venus working with Chiron. Yeah, we do. And so and Venus, represents you, not you, but Taurus uh, and uh, and Libra, right? And so Taurus is more about finance, possessions, that is what your 12th house is representing for you, Gemini. And so, and self-worth, and Libra represents beauty and love and relationships and relating and how we manage those. So but Venus is there with Chiron, so Chiron wants us to, it does really want us to heal, but it typically does it with reflection, with understanding yourself, right? And, and so that's how, and so that's what we have there. So you could be overcoming something, and maybe it is related to your money, your finances, or it can be also, you know, potentially related to relationships as well, because as I was saying, Venus represents both you and Libra. So Libra, the full moon, though, will invite us to understand more deeply our partnerships, how we interact in them, and also our perspective on what we feel is fair and balanced in our lives. Libra invites us to see the beauty in our lives. So let's go ahead and so for Gemini, ascendant, sun, and moon, the full moon is in your fifth house of fun and love and pleasure. This is the romantic house where, desires, right? It's also the house of the sun, so the fifth house represents self-identity, self-expression, our talents, kind of how we're seen, sometimes how we're seen in the world, because the sun is outside, right? The sun sign. So this is also, that is the fifth house. The fifth house rules the heart because it is Leo in the natural chart, right? So the full moon in your fifth house could asking you to be, to act from your heart, could be, but this is the house, yeah, and how we identify with ourselves and how we shine in terms of talents, right? And creative aspect, creative pursuits, and also self-expression, which can be creative expression, right? Creative self-expression. And so the sun opposing the moon from your 11th house of friends and social like connections, innovation and technology. This is the house of also hopes and wishes. And so for you, Gemini, we have the sun opposing from your 11th. So there could be something going on with that. Now, that's the 11th house of hopes and wishes. But not only that, gains, and usually gains that come from the 10th house of career or social status, all right, or social role, things like that. And the 11th house is about the future. So when we see the sun, from your 11th opposing the moon, there's some type of new beginning for you, Gemini, it looks like, right? It could be psychological, as I said, as Venus sits in your 12th house. But the sun in the 11th is asking you to be more authentic to yourself because the moon is in your fifth about self-identity. So maybe there's something that you want to do, or it's asking you to be more authentic to your sense of self. Okay, could be doing that here, and basically establishing. And also, we can say that with that opposition with the sun and the moon. This could also like be kind of like the opposition with the sun and the moon is a little challenging, but it goes quickly, right? Although the lunar cycle is for 2 weeks, the sun moves so quickly, as does the moon. So here we have, but it could be asking you to establish a balance with what supports you emotionally. Yeah, that's interesting there. And this can be regarding love or any type of partnership, and to act with courage with the sun in Aries. Yes. And you might feel uncertain about something, Gemini. Maybe it is a relationship. It can have to do with but it can have to do with your children. The fifth house is, I left that out. The fifth house of self, sense of self and self-identity and love and fun and all these things, right? It also is the house of children and even teaching children. So something can end with the full moon that lets you act with more independence, possibly more self-expression. In other words, more authenticity. And this can bring a whole new beginning for you. This is um, yeah, and so maybe you are seeking balance or something that is more peaceful for you, and the full moon could be showing you that, right? And it can also illuminate a need for a vacation. It's in your fifth house of fun and pleasure, right? Maybe you feel like you need one. I'm a Gemini rising. I could use one for sure, right? In fact, I was thinking about that the other day, right? So Venus also rules your 12th house. We talked about that a little bit. Venus rules Taurus, that's your 12th house of endings, and Venus is in its home protecting you because it's in Taurus, and that's its own home sign. It's not the house so much, but For you, it's your 12th, but Venus in Taurus is at home. So it's stronger, right? It is more powerful, and this is protecting you as you release something or even someone, or you surrender to something. The 12th house is it's also surrendering. It doesn't always have to be, the release is associated with the surrender though. And the 12th house wants us to surrender to the divine and just trust. Trust in whatever you're doing, trust in your creative pursuits, trust in the future, trust. But really trust in the divine, as I was saying. And so, Gemini, your natal Mercury, the planet of intelligence, yes, is in your house of career, social status, social roles, authority, and ambition. This is usually personal authority with Mars, which rules our will to act. So this is allowing you to analyze things and understand and move forward. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Gemini. I really appreciate you. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified of my next upload. Please like, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this. And if you would like a reading with me, check out the description box below where, yeah, where all my readings and my website is listed there. Lots of very cool readings. Love, twin flame, astrology, natal, what you came here to do, that is your soul expression. That's very fascinating, but everything's there. So thanks so much, Gemini.